Me again. The one with the wig. Thanks for fitting me in. I wasn't going to come back anymore after last time, but you did say if I wasn't feeling any better. Tried to drown myself this morning. No luck, obviously. I turned everything off and tidied the kitchen in case people came back for a sherry after the funeral. Wouldn't want them to think that I was a slut as well as a complete failure. A 50-year-old failure. I drove down to Hythe at 6 a.m, all prepared. But it's hard to drown when you're a good swimmer. Got medals for it at school. Dad thought it was great. Even Mum was impressed. Oh, you're good at something then, heaven be praised. In the sea, I was going to swim and swim until I just gave up and went under. Well, there's nothing to come back for. Even a brain as slow as mine could work that one out. I was doing okay till that speedboat went by. The ripples dragged me right back to the shore. I hadn't taken my goggles either. Couldn't see a thing, let alone drown myself. Bobbed about aimlessly like a complete tosser. Bloody freezing too. Wind was gale force, more like December than June. On thinking, if I had gone through with it, there might have been drawbacks. I mean, what if I floated back to the shore afterwards and some kid found me? Might have been damaged for life, sight of me lying there in my black and white cosy. Like that whale they couldn't shift that time. On the other hand, I could have been blown right out to sea and ended up in a trawler net off Boulogne. Catch of the day. A bloater hauled in with the crabs. God knows how I got back to the shore with my eyes stinging like that. Oh, I felt something touch my leg. I hoped it was only seaweed and not the remains of someone with the same idea who'd actually gone through with it. I fell arse over head on the shingle, and when I finally managed to stand up, my crotch was full of pebbles. Some old bloke with a Jack Russell was sizing me up as I shook him out. I didn't even have my wig on either. He wasn't fussy. I thought the next bloke to size me up would be the Undertaker. Heard that in a film once. Nearly pissed myself, never dreaming it would ever apply to me. He gave a salute, the old geezer. Ex-military, by the look of it. You get a lot of them down Hythe. Thought I'd just gone in for a dip, silly old sod. I tried to hurry away, but it was hard getting my flip-flops back on again with soaking wet feet, and his stupid dog barking and circling me all the time. Bloody trousers had blown right up the beach too. He speared them with his stick, and then he just stood there, ogling, while I put them on. All present and correct, he said. I said, yes, thanks. Staggered off to the car. Well, luckily the key was still in the zip pocket. I got inside and got my cosy off somehow. It wasn't easy, with him at the window, twirling his moustache, eyes on stalks. My bum cheeks were probably the most exciting thing he'd seen since Suez. Gave me another salute as I drove off. I felt like giving him one back, the middle finger variety, but I didn't. What the hell was he doing on the beach so early anyway? Some people. I stopped and put my wig back on by that sign that twins Hythe with Berk in France. Berk on the Sea. Me, in other words. If it hadn't been so cold and miserable, I would have laughed out loud. I even thought about going on to Folkestone and seeing Mum for any tiny scrap of comfort that might be on offer. Till I remembered we weren't speaking. Hooray, she said when she found out Ray had left me. Bloody good riddance. She blames him for my hair falling out, see. She doesn't appreciate that he was the love of my life. Anyway, of course he'd have been there, George. Pity she went off on that cruise to find herself and found him instead. If he hadn't sung in the cabaret that night, she might never have laid eyes on him. Oh, she said, just like Dean Martin. More like a pub singer, if you ask me. He said when he saw Mum, he nearly went overboard. Pity he didn't. I could have gone to Bev's for a shower and told her mine was on the blink, but probably wasn't a good idea. Well, she might be my sister, but there are sides of me she doesn't quite understand. I didn't want to start booing in front of her, so I just drove back. I wanted to keep my suicide attempt, failed, from Alison. That's the trouble with living across the road from your best mate. I knew she'd have something to say about it if she knew, like, I'm off my game and men in white coats would be after me. Stupid saying that, isn't it? Like, more tea vicar and, ooh, matron. I mean, as if there's a budget for specially trained white-coated men to go round picking up the mentally ill, not that I am, and then whiz them off to the nearest loony bin. Come to think of it, loony bin's probably out of date too, like Funny Farm and more than likely not PC. Alison just happened to be giving her bin a wipe as I pulled up. Bloody typical. I tried to sneak indoors without her seeing me, but no such luck. Gloria, she yelled, waving a J-cloth. As expected, an interrogation followed. I said I'd just been for a dip, but of course she knew there was more to it. She said it was silly to go in the sea like that, I could have drowned. I told her that was the object of the exercise. She told me to get a grip, and I had no more intention of topping myself as she had, or I would have done it by now, and it's time I forgot all about that imbecile Ray Chislett. It's all right for her. She's never been dumped by a partner of 10 years, or dumped at all, come to that. I started booing then. Couldn't help it. Alison looked around, of course, in case anyone was watching. Told me to pull myself together and get indoors. She meant her place, as I told her I'd switched everything off at mine. She said she'd do me some breakfast while I had a shower. Well, I was quite hungry, actually. I followed her in like a big lost sheep, sniffing. I hate that bloody flashy bathroom of hers. The blooming shower's made for hobbits, and as I'm built like the cave troll, I couldn't change the height of the spray, so I had to shower with my knees bent. Stumped my big toe getting out. Floor was soaked. It took ages to mop up. I couldn't have left it like that. She'd have freaked. She's totally inflexible. She asked if I tried the massage head as it was so relaxing. Very funny. Oh, she was full of sound advice as usual. Over breakfast she told me to keep my chin up. Well, that was a mistake I made in the sea earlier. If I kept it down I might be halfway to Boulogne by now. I'm going to make some changes tomorrow. I'm going to move my bed so it isn't lined up with the dressing table mirror for a start. I mean, what on earth do I look like? No hair, big white face, glasses. Like a kid has drawn me. If only I could be rubbed out and redrawn. Or better still, rubbed out altogether.